Good morning.
Finally coming to Tennessee with me, huh? I got Cedric finally convinced to come out to Tennessee.
Are you out of your mind? Tennessee? Why would I go to Tennessee? Dude, I am heading to San Francisco. Reparations time, baby. Reparations, dog. Got my clothes here. Oh, can't forget this. Gotta have this because I gotta buy the hat. Think I'll buy a rental as well. I'll buy one for me and a rental. Reparations in San Francisco, baby. Tennessee, my butt. Woo! Guys, stay tuned. This is going to be good. I'm Cedric.
And I'm Brian. This is Cedric and Brian. All right, Cedric, well, I don't blame you.
Man, this is it's a great deal.
If you don't know what we're talking about, San Francisco they've had actual meetings, council meetings, I believe. Mm-hmm. They have a reparations task force to give out $5 million if you're black.
Yes.
And I mean, it's not a lump sum, but you're going to go over some of the proposals, right?
Yes, and based on the ancestryme.com that I took a few weeks ago, I am black. So I'm going to get paid. But what injustices have happened to blacks today in 2023?
It's generational wealth is what of course, what people don't realize is I'm white. I didn't have any generational wealth. My dad's family was poor. My dad went to the service so that he could use the GI Bill to put himself through college and then make something of himself.
Right.
There's no generational wealth.
And here's the thing, and we'll get into the crux of the story later, but why San Francisco? Why wouldn't you pick a southern state like an Arkansas or an Alabama or Mississippi?
Well, because the biggest leftists live in San Francisco.
Exactly. But some of the western states at the time were, and blacks comprised 13% of the population. So when we were fighting for rights and for freedom, that wasn't all black people. There were a lot of white people who said, this isn't right, this isn't fair, we need to end slavery.
Not only that, but if my history is correct, I believe a lot of white people died in the Civil War.
Absolutely.
In late 2020, the city of San Francisco created a committee to explore reparations for its black residents. Here are a few of the over 100 recommendations listed. Payments of $5 million to every eligible black adult.
And where's that money going to come from? Every time we see stuff like this, it comes from other people. It comes from taxes. So now you're going to tax other inhabitants of San Francisco and maybe California as a whole to pay this money out to people who don't deserve it.
It would cost every citizen left $600,000 each.
Guaranteed annual incomes of at least $97,000 for 250 years.
So along with the $97,000 for 250 years, because we know that's the lifespan, people live 250 years, eliminate all debt.
The elimination of personal debt and tax burdens.
Usually the property taxes, which goes to, we live in California, we've had potholes and we've had things going on and things like that. That is generated from the taxes that come from the homes.
And homes in San Francisco for just $1 a family.
For $1, you can buy a home. And that's what I'm thinking is, where's the loophole? Can I take $2 and buy a rental? But here's my conspiracy theory. You're always looking for the gotcha. Where am I going to get got? Is this another ploy where we're going to start the cycle all over again to keep blacks oppressed? Now, they're going to do it to themselves. If you take the money, it's on you. To keep blacks oppressed, because we all know if you're a parent and you have kids out there, what is the effect of handing your children something versus making them work for it?
No, they don't appreciate it.
Anytime you hand someone something, they don't value it, they don't take it seriously, and over a course of time, it eventually goes to nothing. That will happen if you hand people this much money.
The irony of this is it's basically another form of enslavement.
Absolutely. You've seen those cartoons and stuff where the fish is always swimming around the hook and it goes underneath and looks at it from the side, looks from this way, and it's like, don't bite that. Don't bite it. It's not going to come good for you. I used to be a Laker fan. Jerry Buss, the longtime owner of the Lakers, when he was alive, he owned the Lakers for 20 years. 10 times they won the championship and or went to the finals. After he passed away, he handed the franchise down to his ne'er-do-well son, Jim, and what happened? Well, they got LeBron. That was a huge mistake. It's like, what are you doing? But you can see a pattern there. Like, Jim never worked for anything, and Daddy just handed it down to him, and Jeannie Buss had to step in and say, well, let me take this over because you don't know what you're doing. But why would we need money when we've had other things that I think count as reparations? We've had affirmative action. We get diversity scholarships and or grants. Diversity, equity, inclusion training happens in every Fortune 500 company across the nation. And it's so how people look at it. I think I was telling you last week, and I can't go into details, an executive for a company, I overheard a conversation where she was talking to one of her executive coworkers, and I guess this woman had just been let go. And the eavesdropping part, when something like this, I have to paraphrase, how can they possibly be letting you go? You are the only black female executive we have in the company. And I'm thinking,
that's just not right.
Are those the only qualifications this individual had? It sounds like our vice president.
The Kamala Harris.
Actually, black, female, that's it. That's all you need to do, and the job is yours.
Here's an interesting stat I just brought. In San Francisco, black residents once made up more than 13% of the city's population. But more than 50 years later, they account for less than 6% of the city's residents. So, and 38% of its homeless population. So, oh my gosh, that's just sad. That's a terrible statistic.
Yeah. And like I said earlier, Brian, I mean, you can't predict the future. My whole thing is, where's the gotcha? What is going to be the cost going to be 20, 30 years down the road for people who take that money? And I wonder if you have the option to say, you know what, I decline. I don't want that.
You'd be dumb to decline. It's like one of those things because I don't, unless they make you sign something.
So you're saying that I should leave right now and move to San Francisco? I guess you got to be.
I hate to bring this to you, but you had to be a resident there between a certain period of time, because otherwise that 6% population would rise really fast. But this goes back to what we talked about. We talk about this with the civil rights, that the black, and people want to doubt us on this, just go look it up, that blacks in this country were getting wealthier and wealthier and wealthier until the 60s.
Right.
And then when we started handing out free money and incentivizing people not to get married, things went down. You lost, like Larry Elder says all the time, you lose the father or the nuclear family, and societies of any color don't do as well. So you look here, the Fillmore District once thrived with black-owned nightclubs and shops until government redevelopment in the 1960s forced out residents. So again, 60s, we think of the 60s as, yes, it gave people the rights to vote. It was on the way of getting rid of Jim Crow laws and things like that, which is all good. But like we always say, hell is paved with good intention.
Yes. This isn't good because there's no sweat equity involved. There's no work that was done, that was put in to receive it. It's just being handed to you.
Yeah. And like we see people of all races, when you win the lottery and you win all this money and you didn't really work for it, they go and they look these people up 5-10 years down the line and they're poor again because they didn't earn it. They don't know how to earn it. They don't know how to keep it.
This just popped in my head. You talk about, I brought up something biblical in our last reaction with Tom McDonald and his. Do
I need to turn the music on and the lights?
No, I don't want to glow in the background. But there's a concept. They talk about giving to people who don't have any, and there was liberals back then in biblical times, like just give. And there was this concept called gleaning in the fields, where the farmers would go out and they would pick the fruit and they would pick the crops, and part of that process was whatever fell to the ground, they left it there for the poor. Mm-hmm. Listen to this, for the poor to come get it.
Right. They didn't bring it to them.
We're not going to put it in baskets and we're not going to take it to you. But if you want it, this fell on the ground, but you have to get up out of your butt, get up for work in the morning and come get it, and you can partake.
Yeah, so at least that's a form of work. They have to work to go get it. But that's the thing with this whole silly thing, and it's going to be the same as welfare. When you give people an incentive not to do anything, they're not going to do anything, and they're not going to contribute to society. And guess what? You're going to have more drug use, more suicides, because when people don't have a purpose.
But you can see how this we know it's going to fold. We've seen this movie before.
There are other people who sincerely believe that if they will hand out things here and there, that this will in fact benefit people. And I've been able to find a single country in the world where the policies that are being advocated for blacks in the United States have lifted any people out of poverty.
Leave me alone to do either to succeed or fail. You know, if I want to be a starving artist, let me go be a starving artist, and I'll figure out how to make money. I'll go sing on street corners, and at least I'm doing something. I'm working. And you keep government out of it.
Right.
The other side is, well, you don't even have to go play on a street corner. You can go sit in your room and play video games, and we'll just give you money.
Right.
Now you're not contributing anything.
Right. Exactly.
And one's voluntary. You voluntarily give money to the street corner musician because you think he's adding value. It's like, oh, that's a good song. I like that. I'm giving him money. Or you're tipping somebody at a bar. Whereas the other one, you give nothing back to society, and the government then says, I'm going to take that money and give it to this person sitting in their room. And that's exactly what they want to do with $600,000 per non-black family. And who knows if any of these people that qualify were even affected by slavery.
Right. You know what?
You eventually have to just say, we have to move on.
Yeah. All these thoughts keep popping into my head, and none of them are going to work. But I'm thinking, okay, let's say you give blacks $97,000 a year.
And what are you going to do with $97,000 a year when you can buy a house for $1? So what are you going to do with that $97,000? Besides, you're going to eat.
The biggest big screen TV you can have. You can have a lot of fancy things that you really don't need, but that you just want. I mean, my biggest question for you, Brian, is, are you positive I can't relocate to San Francisco?
I think this is all part of, and people with good intentions don't see this, but this is going to cause more separation. You're going to have more people getting pissed off. It's like, well, now my taxes went up, all because I'm a lighter shade. Like, let's say Cedric and I lived in San Francisco, and I know a lot of you thought we're probably from San Francisco at the beginning of our channel.
I knew you were going there.
But let's say we're living in San Francisco. I mean, we're going to sit there, and now I'm going to work. Let's say we're roommates, wink, wink. I've got to go to work now to spend every money so he can just sit at home and play video games.
Yeah.
It's going to cause resentment.
Absolutely. You like a lot of these these far leftists, they want this. We're talking about divorcing the states. It's time for a divorce. Yeah. And the people who the right wingers who want to work and be diligent and get up in the morning and have this side, and the two that want to lay around and do nothing. Even in that group of ne'er-do-wells who want to sit around and do nothing, there's going to be a small group of them who are going to get up and say, we got to make some things happen. And they're going to have resentment against the other ones who are like, dude, come on, help out, do something.
Yeah. If you're somebody busting your butt for minimum wage, but you're still doing it,
right? And
then your friend is sitting at home collecting a check, you're pissed. It doesn't matter. It's not even a racial thing at that point,
right?
But now they're doing it by race again, so that they can create more division because government's favorite thing is divide and conquer.
Can you imagine after this happens, like 35, 40 years from now, black people getting around saying, man, don't go into that white neighborhood. They'll jack you over there. They're dangerous.
Right, man. All right.
They're just jealous of us.
We wanted to bring this up because it's kind of been hitting the news. I know it's been out for a little while, but now it's kind of coming to a head, and I just don't know logistically how this can ever happen.
I can't see this thing going to the final decision makers, and they're taking a rubber stamp and saying, "Yep, this passed. Let's go." Yeah. So I got to find my relatives who live in San Francisco and say, "Can you break a brother off?" All right, you guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Like I said earlier, go back to our video this past Tuesday with Tom McDonald's. What was it called?
End of the world.
End of the world.
As we know it.
How perfect is this? That'll be the end of the world. All right, guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, ring that bell, and continue sharing our channel with everyone you know. Keep working diligently and keep loving your family. Until next time, I'm Cedric.
See you later.
Yes, it does. We would never be roommates.